Hollywood is shaking behind the glamour and glitz. Something dark has always lurked, and on Monday, June 9th, 2025, that darkness stepped into court. Sean Diddy Combs, facing charges of racketeering, human trafficking, and drug trafficking, watched as the empire he built began to crack. The case promised to peel back the layers not only of one man's actions, but of an entire industry's silence. In the courtroom, all eyes were on Monique and Tyler Perry. Monique calm, but burning inside, carried the weight of years of blacklisting, betrayal, and truth. No one wanted to hear she had spoken before. They shut her out. Now she sat as a living memory of everything Hollywood tried to hide. Tyler Perry sat tense, trying to keep his expression blank, but his hands trembled just enough to betray him. He had been there at the parties in the mansion, surrounded by gold and shadows he had seen, and looked away. Tuesday, June 10th, 9:30 a.m. Prosecutor Valerie Chen stepped forward, her voice even. Cold images of opulent parties from years past flashed behind her, celebrities, champagne, bright lights, but her words cut through the glimmer. These weren't celebrations, she said, they were hunting grounds, the beginning of a pattern where young artists were promised the world and thrown into a web of control. Monique sat still, her lips tight, watching the images. She remembered them too well. What they felt like, what it meant to say no and be punished for it. She whispered to herself, just loud enough to hear, they don't want stars, they want silence, play the game or disappear. She looked at Perry and he didn't look back. Former security staff assistants and even a retired cop took the stand, each painting a piece of the same picture. Parties where people were afraid, secrets buried for fame. One ex-guard voice, gravel and regret, said he saw girls scared, crying, let out of homes like they were problems to be erased. Nobody asked questions. He said not. If you wanted your job or your life. For the first time, Diddy flinched, jaw-twitching eyes fixed ahead but far away. Tyler Perry sat frozen inside his mind. Memories turned on him once, invitations, now hauntings. He had told himself this was how the business worked. You survive by looking away. Then on Thursday, June 12th, the moment broke. A witness described a night in early 2006, a Diddy party, the chaos, the noise, and then seeing Tyler Perry stumbling out crying. Early morning, March 15th. A man, broken. The court went silent. Perry's face drained of color. He couldn't run from that memory. Not now. On Monday, June 16th, the court indicted Diddy. Tyler Perry faced no charges but walked away. Different, the weight of silence now louder than any punishment he had chosen to survive. And now he knew the cost. Monique stood unshaken, a woman not just reclaiming her voice but carrying others with her. This was never just about her. It was about truth, about pulling the curtain down and forcing the world to see. She didn't need forgiveness. She needed justice, and she wasn't done yet. The trial would continue, but something in Hollywood had already cracked. Gotta play the game, or you're out, simple as that. Perry had nodded, trying to push away the sickness twisting in his gut. Yeah, I get it. Just a lot to take in. He had chosen that path. The easy one. The one paved with silence. And now it was catching up every testimony. Another could. He shifted in his seat, feeling the weight of Monique's gaze from across the courtroom. It felt like she could see everything. Not just what he did, but what he didn't do. Then came Wednesday, June 11th, 2025, 11 a.m. The courtroom tight with tension. Breaths held. The prosecution was ready to go. Deeper Valerie Chen took the floor, calm and relentless, encrypted texts, recovered emails, blurry photographs, evidence, she said, of something long hidden. They turned to an alleged incident from late 2005. Monique was flying high. Perry was rising fast, and somewhere in the hills of Hollywood, private event was held. Very private, tight guest list, no phone, nothing but power and silence. We will now present evidence concerning a private event, Chen said, voice low and deliberate, A witness stepped up, a former event planner, nervous but clear. They had been granted immunity, I remember, the planner said. There was this. Mood Unici. People weren't partying. They were watching each other, and Diddy, he wasn't joking around like usual. He was cold. The gallery didn't move. Just listened. Monique's expression hardened. She had heard stories like this. Warnings whispered, friends who vanished, disappeared into the machine. And now, here it was, in the open, then the photograph, blurred darker room figures unclear, but enough to freeze the room. We believe this image, Chen said, shows a moment where coercive acts occurred. Diddy's lawyer, Arthur Jenkins, leapt up. Objection. Speculation. The photo is too blurry. Pure conjecture, Your Honor. Judge Vance didn't blink, overruled. The jury will decide the weight of the evidence. And then came the shift and pivoted, brought the focus to the long feud Monique and Tyler Perry, not just personal, but political, about silence and power, and who gets to speak. Miss Monique, Chen said, has publicly accused Mr. Perry of blackballing her for refusing to conform to industry demands. While not directly related to Mr. Combs' charges, this dynamic is relevant context. It speaks to the atmosphere of control. Tyler Perry flinched, panic flashing in his eyes. This was it, not the version he told in interviews, not the version that won awards. This was the part he didn't want to see. Written down. Examined. Judged, the gallery stirred. Was he complicit? The mogul, with the soft voice and big dreams. Was he part of something darker? Monique looked at him. Not angry, not vengeful, just disappointed. Deeply, the kind of disappointment that doesn't raise its voice. She had fought alone, stood alone, and he, someone who should have known better, had turned away, chose silence, chose the machine. He chose them over us, she thought. He chose power. Then came Thursday, June 12th, 10:30 a.m. A new witness, former production assistant, granted immunity. They stepped forward and spoke, clear with every word. I saw things. They said, the truth matters now. They described a party, early 2006, a Diddy house, a celebration that turned fast. What began with lights and music twisted into something else. And then I saw Tyler Perry, the witness said. He was there, and he left. He was crying. March 15 early morning. I'll never forget it. The courtroom held its breath again because now there were no more rumors. No more whispers, just memory on the record. Perry was there. The witness said it clearly. Later, a young woman, visibly shaken, was led into a private room with Diddy. Mr. Perry was in the main living area, the witness said. He knew something was wrong. The whole place felt off. And later, saw the same girl again, crying, shaking. Terrified, a gasp rippled through the courtroom. Reporters leaned forward. Tyler Perry broke, tears streamed down his face. He lowered his head, a choked sound escaping the rumor that had once gone viral. Tyler Perry, crying in panic at a dirty Diddy party. Now felt too real, maybe twisted by time and gossip, but rooted in something dark. The witness went on. They heard whispers, quiet plans. Diddy's, people talking about how to contain it, how to silence anyone who saw too much, then a memory, a sharp one. I saw Tyler Perry arguing with Diddy, loud but intense, like a negotiation, the witness said. Perry looked desperate. Diddy looked cold. The prosecution revealed a grainy still from security footage, March 15th, 2062, 30 a.m. Tyler Perry. Leaving fast head down, trying to vanish into the night, Monique watched his collapse, and for a moment, she felt both vindicated and deeply sad. He had hurt her, he had betrayed her, but now she saw what he'd been running from, what he'd been carrying. This wasn't just about her anymore. This was about the entire rotten foundation of the industry. This was about truth. She looked at Perry, and this time, He looked back, both of them trembling, caught in a secret too large to name, for day, June 13th. 2025, the preliminary hearings wrapped more evidence, more witnesses, financial records. Whole empire built on exploitation, victims came forward, their identities protected, their voices altered, but their pain clearage story hit Perry like a hammer. He had seen too much and said too little, all in the name of survival, of image of empire. He sat pale, dread tears still on his cheeks. Haunted, outside, the crowds roared, justice for victims. Lock him up, the streets burned with outrage. Social media flooded, and Monique watched from the side quiet. Steady, this wasn't a win, this was a reckoning. Monday, June 16th, 2025, and 10 Hecatiters P. M. Judge Vance gave her ruling, the courtroom silent. This court finds sufficient probable cause to proceed with a grand jury indictment. The room exploded, gasps. Shouts, Diddy's mask cracked. His lawyer tried to fight it, but the judge's word held Tyler Perry didn't move. He couldn't. The sat there not accused, but guilty in his own soul. Then July 31st, 2022, 52 Gears P. M. Just the news dropped, seen Diddy Combs formally indicted, racketeering, sex trafficking, drug distribution. The trial was set. The world would be watching, and the fallout would be Vastular Perry. Never charged, still faced a different kind of trial. One played out in the eyes of the public, in the mirror, in the silence. Could he ever be redeemed? Monique. The woman they tried to bury stood tall, not just for herself, but for every voice they tried to erase, every truth they tried to silence. She wasn't done, not yet. The system had cracked, and she would make sure it never sealed itself shut again, because no matter how deep they buried it, truth always finds its light.